I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father, help us to be receptive to the thoughts and challenges that come to us through prayer, through the printed page, and from the world around us, and help our leaders to find the best solutions to the problems that we face. We ask this in your name. Amen. Amen. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is to announce that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. Also pursuant to the 2014 bylaws, rules, and regulations of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Burlington, time shall be set aside on the agenda for the receipt of public comments. Public comments will be received with respect to agenda items prior to board consideration of resolutions to be adopted. An additional opportunity for public comment will occur later in the meeting. Public comment shall be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Unused time may not be transferred to another speaker. Persons may speak once per public comment period. I direct the Deputy Clerk to enter into the minutes of this meeting, this public announcement, and the advance written notice of this meeting. Freeholder Bellegarde.
Here.
Freeholder Howarth.
Present.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Here.
And Director Gargano.
Here. At this point, we're looking for a motion for approval of the minutes of April 23rd and April 9th. I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, or motion by Gargano, second by Schwartz. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Staying on 23rd.
Abstentions. All right, now we will move on to item F, proclamation Food Allergies Month.
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
It's me. Come on up. Anybody else that wants to come up?
I just want to take the time to publicly thank our health department for this past week. This month is Food Allergy Awareness Month. It's kind of a huge thing. We tend to forget a lot about the people who really have food allergies. I happen to live with an allergist, so in my house it's every day that we talk about patients that are coming in. People that I can remember one time we had a situation where some young child had pizza, and my wife had to call the pizza place and found out that he had actually added eggs to the pizza dough, and the child was allergic to eggs. So it's just kind of unfortunate that a lot of people don't think about a lot of the allergies that do occur, but they occur to over 6 million. Especially food allergies, and they can be very severe. So on behalf of the Board of Chosen Freeholders and the Director and everybody here today, I really want to thank you for all the awareness that you guys put out there, especially on this, which is kind of near and dear to my heart. And just also echo the great job you do for the residents of the county on an annual basis. So congratulations.
Can I just say a few words? So my name is Eve Cullen. I'm the director of the health department, and part of Health Starts Here. We've taken on a mission throughout 2014 to bring across lots of public education. I have to be honest with you, as Freeholder Howard just said, food allergies are close to my heart. I have a child that has a life-threatening food allergy to 5 of the top 8 allergens, and so not only is it a public health epidemic, but it is in our house. And so the health department is offering education, as it always has been, to the public on food allergies, especially this month and throughout the year, making it available at no cost for schools and PTAs and anybody in the public. That's always been an offer from the health department as well. And just yesterday, for example, we had 35 daycare centers come to the Human Services building. We offered a wonderful program based on lots of different health issues for children, and it was great. We had explaining them about how to combat childhood obesity. Of course, food allergies was a keynote, as well as immunizations and how they're important to children and working parents. So it was a great success, and I thank you so much for this proclamation.
You're welcome. You're more than welcome.
It's my turn.
This week is Small Business Week, and
what we've been doing is we're having some events as we're moving forward, and we're trying to really put a bright light on our small businesses and our small business associations. It's a way for us to turn around and support our neighbors. It's a way to support our economy in Burlington County. We want to make our businesses as competitive as possible. One of the things that we do is, as you look through our budget, we're going to be doing that a little later tonight, as we turn around and we start addressing our tax levy, one of the thought processes in that is to turn around and to make our businesses more competitive. We want to have the most competitive group of people around that can compete with any other county or state, in this area. But I have, I think, 12 or 15 proclamations. So I'm going to start bringing you up here. So first one would be the Burlington County Regional Chamber of Commerce. We're going to keep you up here too.
That's all right. Thanks for the heads up.
What, you want individual pictures or just
No,
everybody?
we'll take a
Everybody
group.
wants.
Sure, why not? Why don't we keep everybody
The
here?
Delran Business Association.
I think they have their meeting tonight.
Good enough. Downtown Bordentown Association.
I like that. Downtown.
They may have a meeting also.
Lawrence Economic Development Committee. Lawrence guys are always here.
They better be.
The Greater Lumberton Regional Business Association. The Main Street Mount Holly. You really didn't want to come up here. How are you doing? Good to see you. The Maple Shade Business Association. The Medford Business Association. Morristown Business Association. Northern Burlington Regional Chamber of Commerce. And the Southampton Township Business Association. Last year we had all of our business associations in 2013 put somewhere like $157,000 out to support our local groups or our local charities and things like that. And I think if you actually did the calculation of probably all the businesses that are involved with all of our communities, that number gets quadrupled. Because I know when my girls were involved with sports, we used to chase all you people down and always have somebody knock in or a card or something that needed to be sold. We're going to be, I guess we're trying to get a picture with all of you folks, and I'm not sure how we're going to do that.
We're getting them.
We're getting them. Oh, we do? Okay. You know, I'm going to do the one thing we did have on Tuesday? Monday. Okay, my days are going together. All the business associations put in for there was a raffle. And a lot of people signed up. I think there was about 500 people that signed up, and it was all with the donations. I think there was a $400 winner, a $200 winner, and a $100 winner. And it's basically the money goes back. It's going to support all the business associations. It's going to really do some good things. And I think we have one of our winners.
Top prize winner.
Top prize winner? Phil, how are you?
Woo!
There you go. You're going to be visiting all over the county.
Okay.
Perfect. Great, guys. We're good. Thank you, thank you.
We good?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yep, me and the gang.
What do they kind of clear?
Freeholder, it's your turn. All right. Freeholder, we have one more. It would be the proclamation for Fleetwood Elementary School's 50th anniversary in Mount Laurel.
I got it.
Years, and we have to have a couple of alumni in the audience. Would they step forward? Step forward.
Oh, moves around. Oh, step forward.
I'm sorry I talked to you before.
Here's Charlotte. There she is. Yeah, come on, get the picture. Mr. Strong.
Class of 64.
You weren't the first class, were you?
That was horrible of me. That was horrible. I couldn't help it.
Come on, Charlene.
In 50 years.
It's a softball.
It's a softball.
Perfect. That looks great, guys.
That's so good.
This is definitely going on Facebook.
My wife taught Charlene.
He says she's great, but I'm not sure it wasn't. And on the 31st, we're having another celebration on the 31st. We'll have all the people doing it on the 31st.
Take it, that's all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Say anything? You want to say anything? Go ahead, step up.
Say a few words if you'd like.
something.
Thank you. Yeah, on behalf of Fleetwood, it's so great to see a few of our alumni out there. Any of you who do have connections, as you said, May 31st is our celebration, 50 years. We've been in the planning for this for a year now. The kids are really excited, the community's excited, so please come out, reach out to the school. It's a wonderful community. And on behalf of the community, we thank you for recognizing us here tonight. We are really looking forward to it. We're very excited, so thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
He wants to get out of here too, quick. He just left, he was good.
Ralph, you got surprised, huh?
Ralph's never telling Joanne anything again.
All right, we're going to move on to our first public hearing tonight. I'd like to, Paul, would you like to read that over?
Always the most
Thank you, sir.
enjoyable part of my job, Bruce. Thank you. Public hearing ordinance number 2014-00154 of the County of Burlington, New Jersey, appropriating $18,702,963 in state and federal grants for various capital improvements.
At this point, I'll open up the public hearing. If you have anything you'd like to say about this one item, there's multiple places throughout the meeting to discuss other items, but this will just be on this ordinance. Anyone? Hearing none, I'd look for a motion to close.
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Howard, second
Second?
by Freeholder Bellegarde. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And at this point, I'd be looking for.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, we got a roll call. You told me that, and
Yeah.
I just totally didn't know.
That's good. Freeholder Bellegarde.
Yes.
Freeholder Howard.
Yes.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Yes.
And Director Gargano.
Yes. And now we move on to item J. We will open the public hearing on the Consolidated Annual Action Plan for the Community Development Fiscal Year 2014. Do we have any? Anna, would you get a couple seconds on this and give us a general idea what this is all about? Thank you.
We are taking public action on our Community Development Block Grant Annual Plan. There have been several opportunities for public hearing. The plan was made available in libraries, in this building, and throughout the county for a 45-day period. And we had a public hearing in March, and this is now our second opportunity for the public hearing. But we're moving forward with a plan for utilization of our $1,263,726 in CDBG funds and $626,452 in home funds for affordable housing development. These support the plan, kind of in summary, supports the development of municipal sponsored projects in 9 townships, 4 services-only grants, and 5 other services such as our heater replacement program, the home improvement loan program, and direct services to consumers that are run out of our community development and housing office. Again, the plan's been available for review on the community development website and in various public places for a period of time.
Okay.
Thank you.
At this point, we have the public hearing is open. If anybody would like to have any questions or comments about this, please stand up, state your name, and
Sharon Christensen from Tabernacle. I'm one of the trustees with Citizens Serving the Homeless, and I have a statement on this.
I don't think that would be.
Not the right time. Not on this, it's not, would this be tied into the
No.
Yes.
Lambert for the homeless?
Yeah.
It is, it's part of it.
It was part of the draft plan, and is no longer in the plan.
You are correct. I apologize. Go right ahead.
All right. I am going to be providing 3 documents, and I also have a copy for everyone if you want to follow along as I read it.
Okay, good.
The Board of Trustees of Citizens Serving the Homeless Incorporated submitted an application to the Community Development Office in early December in response to the notice published in the Burlington County Times and is listed on the county website. We are in the final stages of negotiating a contract for sale with the Learning Disability Society Incorporated, owner of Block 19.58, Lot 1 in the Township of Burlington, commonly known as 111 Municipal Drive. Prior to the signing of the contract, the seller disclosed that they had an environmental report completed to assess the possible impact of underground fuel tank storage, known as USTs. The environmental report estimated that the total cost to remediate the contamination would be approximately $100,000. We submitted a copy of the report with our application. We discussed the possibility of submitting an application to the county staff prior to preparing the application, and were advised that we should ask for no more than $50,000. So in preparing our application, we followed the advice and asked for $50,000 even. The application was evaluated by the staff, and prior to being submitted to the advisory committee, a group from our board of trustees met with the county staff to answer questions and discuss our application. The advisory committee approved it for final recommendation to the freeholders in April. The agenda item was delayed until this date, so we are here to speak up tonight. Our proposed use of the site is to provide comprehensive housing and social services to homeless single adults and families. We have named our project the Community of Hope. HUD, the source of the CDBG funds, has fully participated in the Obama administration's production of open doors, the federal government's 10-year plan to end homelessness. We believe our development on this site is fully consistent with the intent and goals outlined in the federal and in the county's own 10-year plan to end homelessness. The project meets at least one of the eligibility criteria for the use of CDBG funding, and probably more than just one. After submitting the application, one of the critical pieces of documentation was provided and the fully executed contract of sale. Our acquisition and development pro forma consists of two phases. First is the acquisition and environmental remediation. The second is renovation and repair of the facilities. Our first phase funding included the anticipated receipt of the county's $50,000 to help pay for the remediation. Our primary lending source will be New Jersey Community Capital Organization, who are currently underwriting our application to them for 90% financing of the as-is appraised value that came in as $390,000. They have met with us and visited the site and like our project. Attached is the copy of the term sheet and they issued to show you that we have moved the process along and fully expect to have all the acquisition funding in place before the end of the due diligence period, as agreed in our contract of sale. We have counted on the CDBG funds to help pay for the remediation, which could begin as soon as the Community Development Office's spending activity can begin. We understand the county staff hesitancy to commit funds to a project that will still need land use approval and final funding commitments. But we also believe that HUD will not hold the county responsible, nor in any way punish the county for approving a project that is a response to such a national priority as ending homelessness, and then not being able to spend it in the 12 months because of an issue or hurdle delayed the project start. Since the property has an existing use variance that runs with the land, we intend to occupy the property as soon as possible after closing and begin to offer education and counseling to homeless people at the site. So we end this statement with the appeal to put our project back into the plan that will be submitted to HUD and approve it so we can count on it being available before the end of 2014. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to close the public hearing.
Can I ask some questions of our folks about that, or should we wait until this is closed?
I would say if you wanted to ask questions, you would want, yeah, please
Okay.
do.
So, and I don't know if this would be directed to you, but, so this is the first time I'm hearing this information that was presented tonight, and I'm just wondering if you can provide a little bit more information. Was this something that was originally in the plan and then taken out, and if so, why?
Absolutely. As I think was very clearly articulated, the Community Development Advisory Group made an initial recommendation for a plan, and that was in early February. An initial plan was developed, and the draft that was put forward for public comment included this project. But that recommendation that was made had some contingencies. One of them, as noted, was the finalization of a contract of sale, also securing the additional, providing documentation of the additional funding sources required to move the project forward, and securing local land use approvals in order for it to be included in the plan. So at the time that it was, at the close of the public comment period, when it became time to finalize the plan, it was our assessment that the project was not going to be ready to move forward in the time frames required to actually disperse the funds within the current grant year. And we spoke with many of the trustees of Citizens Serving the Homeless and explained that in much greater detail and in great depth, but essentially stated that it's more than open for application in the subsequent funding round, which will be next December's funding round. But it does not, we're not comfortable saying this project is going to be ready to roll and be completed, that all those land use approvals are going to be in place for the use of the property in the time frame of the grant, of this current grant funding cycle. And so the recommendation was to remove it from this year's plan and reconsider it at a future date.
So what are the ramifications of us if we were to, let's say, overlook the fact that that these land use approvals have not been granted, and we were to go ahead with including this anyway? Does that mean that that money cannot be used for somebody else, or that we, it's a detriment to us as the county in the future moving forward when we seek monies in this regard, or?
Well, unused funds at the close of the HUD funding cycle are subject to increased monitoring and oversight, and it could raise additional just audit concerns and oversight and potentially for recapture if more than 1.5% of a year's allocation is spent within a time period. So we're held to sort of what is being spent within the projected time frames, and largely that's within 12 months of the grant allocation. So it will cause challenges in the subsequent funding year cycle in terms of how we secure our HUD dollars.
Okay. And were you given any sort of time frame as to sort of when they thought the land use approvals might be obtained? Did they present to you any kind of evidence or information as, we expect them within the next month, or was there?
It was unclear. They had not even submitted for land use approvals, and our understanding is that the hearing would, could reasonably be expected to be within 90 days of the time of submission. And so that application had not yet been filed when we were finalizing this plan. And the other timing concern related to the timing of DEP approvals for the removal of the oil tank, and that would be something that wouldn't even begin until the actual acquisition took place. And we felt that the projections of timeframes of that being able to be done within the 12-month funding cycle were more ambitious than we would have projected.
And just so I understand, even though our plan this year does not include this project, it could, as of next December, when the process begins again, they could reapply?
Yes.
I think those are all the questions I had. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, then, I'd be looking for a motion. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. I'll look for a second.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Bellegarde. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it. At this point, we'll move on to item K, which is public comments on agenda items. We have the 5-minute rule, which was discussed earlier. We will, these will just be on agenda items. There's a spot at the end of the Freeholder meeting where you can discuss any items at all. So, Barbara Rich? And, okay. Sharon Christensen? Done. I'm gonna scratch you out of here then. Janet Corinne?
I'm at the end.
You're at the end too, okay. Anyone else on agenda items? Seeing none, we will move on to resolutions. I will make a motion to approve item number 1, which would be to introduce the 2014 county budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Gargano, second by Bellegarde. Questions or comments?
I was just going to say, so I know we usually do like a full presentation. Is that at this meeting or at the?
That'll be at the next.
Okay.
This is just to introduce. We'll do a presentation.
And then once it's introduced, information will actually be on the website and available to the public, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
I just got a couple of quick things. I'd just like to explain briefly for the public the steps that we are taking in our budget process this evening. Tonight we are introducing a budget for our 2014 fiscal year. This represents the next step in a bipartisan process that began the start of this year, which each freeholder providing input and making suggestions regarding their various departments. I want to thank each of my colleagues for their contributions. I am proud to announce that with this budget plan, we once again cut taxes while enhancing services we offer for our families, seniors, veterans, and most vulnerable among us. We are doing more with less, collecting $24.2 million less from the taxpayers than we did in 2008. That, by the way, is the largest county tax cut in the entire state of New Jersey. The county portion of the average resident's total tax bill has been reduced by more than 20% over the last 6 years. Currently, county taxes represent 14.9% of the resident's total property tax bill. We as a board have also dramatically decreased spending since the recession. Ultimately, we have decreased county spending by more than $39.3 million, or 17.2% in the past 6 years. We have proven here in Burlington County that fiscal responsible government that still provides for its residents is possible, and I'm proud to be the director of a board that can serve as a blueprint for how government can be done throughout the state. The next step in the process will be a public budget hearing in approximately 30 days. At this time, we'll have a more in-depth public presentation explaining this year's budget, which we'll make available online, and members of the public will have the opportunity to have it and give their input. So with that, I'll let the meeting continue and ask for a roll call vote.
Freeholder Bellegarde?
Yes.
Freeholder Howard?
Yes.
Freeholder Schwartz?
Yes.
And Director Gargano?
Yes. All right, we'll move back to resolutions. I'd like to make a motion to approve by unanimous consent items 2 through 20. I'll take Joe's too.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Howard. Questions?
I would like to make a motion at this time to remove from unanimous consent the following items for further discussion or explanation. Items 2 through 7, 10, and 18.
And I'd like to also, do we have to wait for that to be seconded?
No, what I was going to do is, can we, if we can ask the questions on all of those, and then if you have something you don't want to vote for, we can just, you can vote no.
Okay.
I'll roll call like that so we're not pulling.
Because I have 2 more. Do you want me to say them now?
What I can do is if we can get the motion in the second, if you want to ask your questions.
Okay.
And at that point, if you want to vote no on it, you can vote no, or yes, or vote for yes.
More
Pull them out and more
Well,
discussion.
you can have discussion
Yeah,
on all of them, so you can, at this point, with the motion in the second, you can discuss any of the items that were from 2 to 20.
2 to 20.
Okay, sounds
Okay,
good.
From 2 to 20.
2 to 20.
Great.
So,
Okay.
whoever
We're
wants
off
to
to
go
the
first.
races. Okay. So for number 2, the bills. I don't have too many, but they're in alphabetical order this time, so it'll be easier than last time. On page 24, Camden County College, I have to recuse myself. Page 64, Joseph McKernan, the Park Avenue project. I just need a little refresher of what this project is.
This is the renovations of the Ag Center for parks.
Oh, okay. I was reading it like as Park Avenue.
No, at Parks.
Okay, I read it wrong. Thank you. Page 67, Lammy and Giorgio, I don't know if I'm saying their names right. There was an entry on there for $21,483 for professional services. Do you know what that was for?
Yeah, this is the enhancements to the Mount Holly complex security.
Okay. Page 132, urban engineers. There was just an entry on there for various capital improvements. Wasn't even too much, but just over $2,000. Do you know what those various capital improvements were?
Urban, this is for intersection improvements on Elbow Lane.
Okay. And then, last but not least, page 143, Zampel Refractories, $34,699. What was that?
This is for solid waste to replace flares.
Okay. That's all I had on number 2.
Number 2, okay.
And I just hope you won't be insulted, but there's something wrong with my chair. I'm in a hole, so I'm going to be sitting on your budget. Don't take it as an offense. So much better.
She does like the budget, though. She already told us she likes the budget. It's good.
We do have a spare chair if you want.
You want to sit over here?
I got it.
We can leave that chair for Joe.
I'm here.
Let's move the chair over since he's not here tonight.
I'm here. That's all right. Pick me up.
That one.
It was much more dramatic that way, Joanne.
It was.
And then, so moving on, items number 3 through 7 is Mr. Kratson still here? Oh yeah, in the back. So for these, I really don't have too much question. I was wondering if you could just provide a brief explanation just for the benefit of the public.
I'd be happy to. Items 2 through 7 are for various financial transactions that procedurally we need to move forward with resolutions for. I'll start with item number 3, which is on our agenda. And every year, the county must approve the levy that's going to be assessed as part of the county tax, which corresponds to the library. And in 2014, consistent with the Freeholder formula on taxes, the amount of that levy will remain the same as it was for 2013. In fact, not increase. Item number 4 is consistent with the introduction of our budget tonight. Counties are required to do several calculations in terms of what's the maximum levy that could be assessed. In those counties where they raise the levy, it becomes more pertinent, where in fact, because Burlington County is lowering the levy, it's not as critical for this year. However, what it does do is it establishes what statute refers to as a cap bank. And it's a bank that allows the county to use the amount that it did not increase taxes this year in future years if it's needed. Item number 5 is pertaining to a bond anticipation note confirmation. When the county does capital projects, it usually issues bond anticipation notes, which is basically a one-year borrowing at a very low interest rate. Annually, if we renew those notes, they need to be bid and sold again. And I just will take this opportunity to note to the board and to the public that there's a scale of all governmental entities that goes out in the marketplace. And based on the county's credit, it's usually very close to that scale. I'm pleased to announce that is contained in this resolution that the county did 2 basis points better than that scale. This does not always occur, but basically our borrowing rate is 0.13%. That's 13 basis points, which is virtually an unheard of rate. So I'm very, very pleased to report that this evening. Item number 6 is for funding for the colleges. It's for a resolution consistent with an ordinance which was approved previously for Chapter 12 funding. And Chapter 12 funding is where the state provides 50% of the debt service for debt issue for higher education. And this is what that specific resolution is for. And then lastly, item number 7 is for the New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Trust, referred to as NJEIT, which is the last step in confirming that bonds were sold for that. And that again is another state subsidized program that enables the county to proceed with stormwater work.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 10, with regard to the award and or rejection of contracts. I had a question with regard to this contract for maintenance and repair of generators. I don't know who I direct this question to.
I can take some.
Okay, great. So I was just wondering, so this is an estimated amount of award of $27,330, but I noticed that there was quite a discrepancy between the other two bidders. The next one coming in at close to $65,000, and then the one after that coming in close to $109,000. So I'm really glad to see that we're choosing to go with the lowest one, but I'm just wondering, is this something that should be a red flag or something we should be concerned about given the large discrepancy here? And if not, why not?
No, we reviewed this along with the buildings and grounds and engineering. We feel comfortable with this vendor. I think some of the vendors, based on how much work they have and whatever else bid up, but basically reviewing it again, we feel very comfortable with this vendor.
Right. Okay.
And we're not paying any more than $27,000, so don't worry about it.
No, I wasn't too worried about that.
I'm not approving any more than what they say, so.
And then also on that, I think the next one was, for the prisoner transportation. I noticed that this was a company in Florida.
Yes.
And so I'm just wondering how that works out. Do they have locations in New Jersey?
They do.
Okay.
And basically, there was two firms. One was from Florida, the other one was from Nashville.
I noticed that. Yeah, neither of them were from New Jersey,
Yeah.
so.
And this is just what they do for a living.
Okay.
And that's where they are.
The national company.
My understanding from previous discussion I had with, I don't know, was it with the warden or with the
Jean.
sheriff?
It was
With
Jean. It was Jean.
that this is because there are people who are under arrest who have to be brought up from Florida or California or whatever, and that this company does that transport?
Yes.
That's correct?
Yes.
So that way our officers, although they might want to go to Florida, don't get the chance.
Or do they have to go to Detroit?
Or Detroit.
Great. Thank you.
And we've been doing this, my understanding is for a number of years also?
We have.
That is correct.
That's all I had on number 10. And then the last one I had was on number 18, and Anna, I don't know if this comes to you again. So I think I have a good understanding of this resolution. This is the resolution authorizing to reject a proposal titled Sandy Homeowners Rental Assistance Program Case Management. So the reason that we are rejecting this is because of the decrease in funds that are now going to other counties that need them more than we did for Sandy relief. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
We lost our case management allocation, and the provider who had submitted a response, a proposal, was not able to carry out the case management services with decreased
Okay.
amount of funds.
So we're not rejecting Hurricane Sandy services. We're just the money has just been reallocated where there's a greater need.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And those case management services are going to continue to be managed within the Community Development Office of the department and not subcontracted out
Right.
with a provider.
Great. That is all I have.
Very
Thank you.
good, thank you. Freeholder, you have a?
No, they were answered. Well, I was going to say this under my comments section, but I guess I'll say it now. I like the idea of us removing certain items for discussion because instead of just voting blindly, I think people in the audience need to have a better understanding of some of these issues. So I think it's good that we have a nice, healthy discussion and that our staff who are in the audience can help us answer a lot, what is this and why is it, as opposed to us just blanket approving it.
I agree. Hearing no more questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Freeholder Howard?
Thank you, Director. At this time, I'd look for unanimous consent on resolutions 21 through 25.
Motion by Freeholder Howard, second.
Second.
By Freeholder
He did not,
Beauregard.
that's right, he did not.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Freeholder Schwartz?
This time I'd like to move for unanimous consent for items number 26 through 29. And I'm wondering if we could just have a quick little discussion on some of them.
Surely
So
can.
everybody
I'll
knows what
second
we're.
that, first of all.
Good, thank
We have a
you.
motion by Freeholder Schwartz, second by Freeholder Howarth. Questions or comments?
Does anybody have any questions or any staff want to comment on any of these? No? Okay, then how about I make a few comments? There you go, all right. Item number 2 is for emergency preparedness for public health, and that's very important, and that's to authorize renewal of an application to the Department of Health from the state for us to get this money. So we have to go through the process of first approving it here before we could submit the application. I think frequently you'll see in some of these things where the freeholders have to give permission for our various departments, whether it's health or highway or whatever, to submit a grant. They can't just submit a grant. So that's why you'll see some of these items on here. Again, item number 28, permission to submit a grant. And then item number 29 is we're giving permission for the departments to submit a grant. So that's what that's all about.
Any other? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Move on to item M, questions from the press? Nothing? Carol?
Number 16, what is the impact of that when you're doing senior apartment complex?
16.
They're still able to, the project's going to be built. It was calculated into the overall numbers. We got a breakdown, so there's no real impact. It's still going to move forward.
Was it that they had sufficient funding and didn't need as much county funding?
Yeah.
And what was the deduct from the 530 to the 240 on the Bordentown project? What was the?
It went from 540,000, was the initial conditional commitment made last year, and it's now $240,000 commitment. And that was due to, we had used all the home funds allocation.
Was that because of the decrease in home funds or because the project didn't need as much county funding?
It's because it was a conditional commitment, and we had 4 applications submitted, and this was the last one to the table. And it was an unprecedented funding cycle. They all were applying for low-income housing tax credit money, and they all were successful in securing that money, which had never previously happened. So the last one understood full well, if everybody before you gets funded, you're gonna have to readjust your budget, and we can't commit that full amount.
And there were 4, you said?
There were 4 successful applications.
And they did readjust their budget, so their numbers do add up, and everything's going to move forward on that project.
And that funding was for 48 units, correct?
Total of 48 senior affordable housing units in Bordentown City.
Thank you.
All right, at this point, we will move on to public comments, and we'll go back on Barbara.
Thank you. Barbara Rich, 37 East Central, Morriston. I have the interest in the upcoming Green Acres public hearing process. Can you explain to me, during that process, is there going to be an opportunity for participants to ask questions?
Yes.
And there will be representatives from both the township and the county at both of the hearings?
Mary Pat?
Yes.
Okay.
Both West Hampton Township will be represented as well as my staff. Thank you. And after the 2 hearings, when will the vote be taken by the freeholders? The vote has already been taken by the freeholders on December 11th, I believe it was last year, when they wrote the transfer of the property. After the hearings, we will submit to Green Acres for their approval for transfer, and I'm not sure how long that will take.
I guess that's what's behind my mind too, because during conversations I've heard it's a done deal, so it must be referring to that vote on December 11th. And I gather it was unanimous?
Well, you
I wasn't here.
At the time of the freeholder in office, was it unanimous?
I
To
believe
the
it
best of my
was.
memory, it was unanimous.
I believe it was.
When you took that vote, did you see a plan layout?
Mary Pat, can you help us with that?
Yes, at the time that I did the presentation to the freeholders, we had a conceptual plan of development of playing fields for their contract.
If I remember correctly, Mary Pat, too, there were, I mean, I think there were some other components to that as well, like, because I feel like I remember asking, wasn't there going to be like a walking path there too, or, and I know that it's been a couple months, so I might be confusing something, but.
No, you're correct. There is a portion of the site where it has actually some terrain, very uneven ground, and that's not possible to develop as a playing field. So the township was considering a walking path through that area, and of course the county hopes to proceed with its plans for a walking path around the perimeter of the property.
This is the Rowan piece, correct? Okay.
Okay, that's interesting. I happened to visit the Evesham new complex. It has 4 ball fields, and there are also areas where I thought would be walking, but actually a vehicle can one way across. And I'm wondering, by looking at the layout draft proposal, whether you were anticipating vehicles being able to, or is it just the public being able to walk the paths between all the walls?
I don't recall vehicles.
Have they done a design to that extent that would?
It was very conceptual. It was trying to look at the available land and see how many fields they could fit in actually. So they would have to go through the whole design and design improvement process.
Yeah. And just to augment on the Evesham piece, a couple items. One, it's not any Green Acres funds, because that was just purchased by the town. I was on council when we purchased the property, and they had gone out to just fund it right off on their own. And there's not really allowed any vehicles in that area. They do use golf carts. They use golf carts, but they have not yet planted all the grass that's going to continue going around there. So that complex is only about 85% complete, and they're continuing to do work on it. I was just over there on Monday, and they're still bulldozing the outside, moving dirt around. The whole area in the front, before you walk up to the ball fields, that's still all dirt. That's all going to be planted grass and sod around the whole thing. So yes, those areas are also wide enough in case we need to get an ambulance in that place. We can pull an ambulance in there or a police car in there, but there's nobody going to be allowed to drive any vehicles in there that are not either recreational people for emergency purposes and or police for emergency purposes and or recreation people to pick up the garbage and to then be able to also drag the fields.
When I was there, I had to avoid a truck.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're still working.
Well, this was up near the concession stand.
There's, you know what? They could have been emptying garbage. They could have been bringing more equipment in there. It's still ongoing. That site is ongoing.
Because in the draft plan I've seen, with all the connecting trails, and there are 2 parking areas. One possibly double the size of the other. The smaller one is off Bridge Street, and the other one is up the drive area it presently exists to the Rowan estate, the home. You're all aware that is an historic home?
I'm sure that's taken into consideration of the property.
Well, there might be something that I can say at the public hearing that doesn't necessarily give that credit to that, along with environmental aspects of it. Will there be more public notices? I gather not, if it's already had a vote.
Mary Pat, for the actual process for the communities, do they have to public notice, correct? Any meetings they have?
Yeah, we have 2 public notices. I believe the last public notice will be 30 days before the public hearing. So we've had 2 public notices. Right.
So it'll be out there.
Do you know what the date is of the public hearing?
The public hearings are May 22nd at 7 p.m. at the West Hampton Township Municipal Building, and on June 5th at 7 p.m. there will be a hearing in this room.
Will there be, again, opportunity for open requests after the close of June 20th that was in the public notice for the end of the comment period?
I would think the end of the comment period is the end of the comment period, so anything that's on the record at that point would be on the record. I mean, you could, not saying that the conversation can't be had with us or in any other public meeting, but for that part.
I don't know if I understood your question. Did you say for Oprah requests?
Oprah request.
Because you can submit an Oprah request
Anytime you want.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was hoping.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And why is there some reference to the fact that it has to be completed in August? I'm not quite understanding that date. I don't remember the specific day in August, but it did say something about it being effectuated by August.
Are you referring to something that was in the notice? Because
It might have been in general, I don't have that particular piece of.
I believe that August is just the projected date where we could actually close on the property. And it's just, again, it's projected.
The New Jersey Local Lands and Buildings Act says you can close no sooner than 90 days from the date of the second public hearing.
No sooner. But it could be late.
Correct.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Janet?
Jenny Curran, 123 Main Street, Rancocas, West Hampton Township. I do have some copies that I'd like to share with you. I don't know if it's final or not.
Thank you.
I was taken by surprise. Wow, this is all new. I used to never miss a county freeholder meeting. One of the things that I was going to come to you a couple years ago was about the winter forum in Mount Laurel, where the farmers meet, and what a beautiful job you did with that. And we have to go very far now for fresh vegetables and potatoes and whatever, and it's really nice. And I wanted to come to you and say, why is Mr. Rowland's property sitting there after 7 years? A beautiful home. I remember it as a young girl growing up, and Mr. Rowland came into West Hampton in 1956. A very generous, caring man, still alive. Beautiful piece of property. And why would it be used and given for $10, I shouldn't say given, $10 to West Hampton, when many townships pay taxes also to the county to purchase that property when you did 7 years ago. And I just found out that approximately a year, and within the last year, that this has been discussed between the county and our township officials, and no one knew about it until I did call the Burlington County Times, and they did tell me it was advertised, and I did find it in the public notice, okay? And I also get the Sunday Courier Post, and this was the story in the Courier Post. We cannot afford this type, our township, our taxpayers in our township. We cannot afford to take care of that house and that man. And you're taking away the one thing that Mr. Rowland did for many years, was lease a part of the farm, part of the property to a farmer that's going to be taken away from us. And one of the many things that I used to say when I came here, thank you for helping us save the farmland and open space. And you did help us by Mrs. Deacon's farm. For many years, she worked here for 40 years, along with one of my older brothers. Very wonderful woman, but she would never discuss what she would do with the farm. Well, now we know it's safe. We do not know what's going to happen to the house. We lost Hogan's farm to Virtual Hospital. Way too much money, I understand that. And we still have Hancock Farm. We still have a lot of open space. The one thing I used to say to the county freeholders, come on down our way and look at what we have left and help us. But we've lost a lot already. We have a sports complex that the taxpayers are paying, along with the grants that we receive, and I thank you very much. But they are not used by the residents. We have, and when I say residents, we have children that play for different teams, okay? But you cannot go on this field and just go on and play on the fields if it's being used, because it's also being paid. There's, people that use the field have to pay to use it. But there is no time, really big time, any time, that township residents in West Hampton can use this field. We have a group, PDA, that came in with a soccer field to bring money in, and our children, they're gonna have a summer camp. We might be able to use it maybe once a week, but not one of the fields that you see in front of you that are going to be new fields are going to be used by Brancusis residents. If you go back to where Henry's farmhouse, when he came into town, and I was there before Dr. Thurm, when he built in Dr. Thurm. He was a very generous, caring man, and I have him dead already, but he's not well, but he's doing good. Considering his family is well aware of what's going on, what's happening, and I think many, many people are very, very disappointed in what is happening. That for the county to give West Hampton Hank Rowland's property, instead of going and looking for someone that would take care of that land, restore that house as it once was, and maybe we could benefit with making money from it. But we're losing money because of what you paid 7 years ago, and again, I'm not against my council, but they seem to go behind closed doors, and before you know it, something's happening. And that happens in a lot of time. I've been involved in township meetings for 30-some years, and the county freeholders, my favorite, Bill Haynes and Mr. Crusoe, used to hear me. But I would really, really, if you're saying this is a done deal, I mean, this is already signed. I mean, even though we're having a meeting next Thursday night at the township meeting, is it worth my while to go and then come here and listen to the freeholders in June, knowing that you're going to actually turn this over to West Hampton when we have many counties that pay taxes? And just because we have a sports complex, we don't need that partial of land. That is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. And to take that farm field away from someone that has leased it, the view from the house, they want to build a boat ramp. There's no way you can build a boat ramp through the marsh down into the creek. I mean, it's just, it's going to be very costly. We're going to end up owing more money and have higher taxes. And it's just not realistic at this time that our township can afford it. So I would just really like you to take into consideration, if this is already a done deal, then it's not worth my while in going next Thursday night, the 22nd. And it has not been said to us or any of us that it is a done deal. So no one on this board can tell me that it's a done deal.
Well, I don't think that the actual plan is a done deal.
And
I mean, I think that's the point of the hearing, right?
The board just did a resolution authorizing the transfer. There's no more action required on your part, but that doesn't mean you go to the closing table.
I mean, we've worked, that property was purchased with Green Acres funds.
No.
Was farmland preservation funds?
Yes, it was from our trust fund monies. It is considered a Green Acre parcel and on the county recreation and open space inventory.
Okay. So it's on an open space and recreation inventory.
Correct.
And then West Hampton came to us and then they wanted to have that piece of property.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, to supplement their sports complex.
Okay, and we agreed as a board to let them have the property.
Correct.
And that was what we voted on back in December.
Right.
it's pretty much up to West Hampton now on what they want to do with it and what they're going to do with it, and pretty much how they're going to continue, correct?
And it sounds like up to us to go to closing too.
It's what, sorry.
And up to us to go to closing. The property's not been closed on.
Okay, well, like I said, again, I would love to see the property stay as it is. I would like to see someone come in, restore the house, do what you did. I look at Smithville, and I live in a historic village, Rancocas. I don't think anyone knows about the historic village.
I was at the one-room schoolhouse on Saturday.
Yes, okay, oh, yes, okay. Yes, we have a one-room schoolhouse. Been there.
Nora Dunphy, great lady.
I grew up there, and some of our council member, and I'm sorry, I'll say it in front of them, they really don't care about the village.
Ma'am, I'm sorry for interrupting. We do have the 5-minute rule.
I'm sorry, but I
Okay.
will say that when I look at Smithville and the wonderful, beautiful job that you did, could there not be something done to Hank Rowan's property, who dedicated his life and what he did for people and education, to know that his family is involved in this at this point? And I would just like to say, the one thing that I'm concerned about is the traffic. Number one, I gave you a sketch. There's only one way out and one way in at this point. If they were to move coming out near the Centerton Bridge, it would be a disaster, because I did a count on my own of traffic that uses the Centerton Bridge. And it is backed up almost to the Quaker Cemetery, which is very, very close to what they want to do. So that has to be taken into consideration.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. We have a visitor who visits us
Okay.
most meetings who would be
Okay.
up in arms right now that
The
I've given you
Centerton
more than
Bridge,
5
one
minutes.
last question is what I always used to come here for. Is the Centerton Bridge. Is there any plans to make that, close that bridge, which was supposed to be closed in 295, when 295 came in? That bridge is rusted bad underneath, and I was there when the engineer was there.
We do know that bridge has problems. Our engineering department reviews it every year. In the past 3 or 4 years, there's been work done to it to keep it safe, but that is a bridge that we know there's issues with. But it's looked at every year to make sure that we're not going to have it's not in great shape, but it's not dangerous.
It's not falling in the water.
It's something that, so we're maintaining, but we do know that the traffic pattern you're talking about, we've been reviewing. The bridge itself, we've been reviewing, and that's definitely something that's on the engineering
Would you
book.
consider closing that bridge and making it a walking bicycle path?
I can't.
I can just tell you just quickly, I don't know if I would have input on this, but as a former life member of the Mount Laurel Emergency Squad, we frequently use that bridge as a back way to get to the hospital.
And there's many accidents on that bridge due to that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have anyone else? Sir?
I'll be brief. Steve Stern from Mount Laurel. I just want to bring to your attention an article that was in this morning's Philadelphia Inquirer. And I'll just read the first couple sentences. Long considered one of the region's most dangerous highways for pedestrians, Route 130 in Burlington County had no pedestrian fatalities in the last 12 months. And the article goes on to say that there are a number of jurisdictions involved, but it specifically points out the county's Sheriff's Department for coordinating all those efforts. And I would just like to thank the men and women of the Sheriff's Department for making that safe.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Hearing none, we'll close the public comment. We'll move on to comments from freeholders. Freeholder Bellegarde?
Yes, thank you. I'll just be brief with tonight's introduction of the, well, first of all, let me say thank you to the folks who came and spoke tonight, because I think that's a really important part of the process. And it's not often that we hear from different folks. So I really do appreciate you being here and bringing your thoughts and concerns to us, because I really do take them to heart, and I really absolutely appreciate it. So thank you for that. With regard to the introduction of the budget tonight, I wanted to thank my fellow freeholders, as well as former Freeholder Director Leah Arter, who's no longer on the board, for allowing me to be a part of the process this year. It's something that I had talked about last year, not being a part of the process, and having at least the opportunity this year to take part as liaison to the departments that I'm liaison to. I really did appreciate that, and I think we all worked well in that regard, so thank you, and that's all I have.
Freeholder Schwartz?
Yes, I just wanted to comment, and I'm going to put Eve on the spot. We had a very successful It's Raining Cats and Dogs event. How many, there were people just adopting left and right. Do you know the final numbers?
We actually had over 1,000 visitors to the shelter that day. It was a great combination of good weather and good publicity, and we had 51 applicants that day in particular for cats and dogs to be adopted, and then they trickled in thereafter. So it was a huge success.
So it was a great event. Also, I'd like to comment on Burris Construction Company are having a special charity event, and that's without my reading glasses, and this is to benefit the shelter. And if anybody would like to go, it is on June 17th from 5 to 11, and it's in Morristown at Burris's headquarters, 8 Main Street.
Tickets are $50.
I was kind of not going to, yeah.
It's beer and wine.
Right. I wasn't going to mention the price.
And I think he's doing a drawing for a motorcycle.
Right. Yes.
$100 drawing for a motorcycle. Yeah.
Getting crazy.
So, please, if you can afford to go, we'd love to have you. We can definitely use all the money that we can get to help support the shelter. And I wanted to comment on the wonderful job that the staff there have been doing. We now have a no-kill rate for dogs, and we're approaching that for cats, and you guys also have put together a special cat committee.
Yes, that's been going well.
So thank you.
Thank you for your support.
Good. Freeholder Howard?
I just want to say that I had the opportunity to visit Rancocas Village on Saturday, and I have to agree with you, it is a quaint, beautiful little place, a lot of history. I was there and I read a proclamation for Nora Dunphy. She's been teaching at the only one-room schoolhouse left, and she's been there for 45 years. And that was their annual kind of little fundraiser that they had, and they had a band playing, and they had the kids all there. She teaches preschool and kindergarten, and I'll tell you, it was a great place to be. I actually got a chance to make butter. And I've never had a chance to do that. And you know what? All you got to do is take a little heavy cream and shake it in a little container, and pretty soon you got butter. And the next thing I know, I'm eating it on a roll. It was the most awesome thing I ever did in my life.
Ralph, was that one of your teachers?
You know? You know? So, you know, it was a beautiful day. I met some great people. The kids were great. The activities were great. And I said to them, you know what, let us know next year when you're going to do this again, and let us help you advertise for this, because you know what? I think more people need to see it. And if more people need to see it and get used to it, the little areas we have in Burlington, it's just going to be that much better, you know? So I had a great time. So, and she was a great lady, and Amy Rodriguez was there. She was running the whole show, and I spent about 2 hours. So it was enjoyable. So I want to commend you guys down there in that little hamlet there, because it's just a beautiful little place. And that's all I have, sir. Kick it off to you.
In 2 weeks, if anybody wants to make butter, Mr. Howard will be starting a little bit early.
I'm going to make it at Thanksgiving and just flip everybody out. Okay, they're going to not believe me. You know?
I'm just going to be real quick. I wanted to thank the administrative staff for this year's budget too. It was a lot of hard work that went on, but the other group that really needs to be thanked in this process too is our employees. A lot of the ideas come out of our employees as time's been moving on. I mean, it's been a tough few years. We've made a lot of tough decisions, but you know, we're keeping our services up. We're doing our jobs. We're doing a really good job of it. And we're getting ideas from our people how to do things better. I mean, and that's what it's all about. It's a team effort. You know, it's all of us. It's all of our people that are working for county government. It's really starting to pay off, and we're starting to see some really good things happen. So With that, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Freeholder Howard, second by Freeholder Schwartz, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Who doesn't want to leave?
We're sorry, Ralph.